Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, Nabeena Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. The sisters who are struggling to sit behind, please come forward. Forward here. You should be the leader, not behind. Come this side. Here. Front row. Why you are afraid? I am not a tiger. Jump on you.
Because I need 4 seats.
Yeah.
If I get there.
Yes.
Somebody here?
No. This is for you. One. See, this is occupied with a cake. So, except that, you are okay. You want cake, you are late, of course. You will get, but I hope something is left. Inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, Nabeena Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. This was the dua of Musa alayhi salam. When he wanted to communicate his message, he prayed this first. And this dua is a masnoon dua for any da'i. When he is interested in do dawah, it is recommended he makes this dua. So, we make dua to get our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, involved in my activity. I seek help from Him, then inshallah the help will come. And then in order to learn things, we make this dua, and this dua is also Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended, and we should memorize if possible. And this dua is Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una wa zidna ilma. That means, O Allah, benefit us through what you teach us. Benefit us through what you teach us. And teach us what benefits us. He knows what benefits us. And increase us in knowledge. All this effort is to increase our knowledge. So we seek Allah's help. So with this background, with this starting point, we go. Brother Ahmad has already described, summarized yesterday's whatever discussion was there. And I think it would be a good idea to give you the last slide which I presented yesterday. So we were talking about when we use the term da'wah as a term, what it means? It means invitation, calling. We know this. It's not a big deal. Da'wah at applied level, this gives the concept of dawah. What exactly is this in practical terms? How we can apply it in our activities actually. So, the essence of each is connecting people of other faiths. Connecting people means socializing, bringing them at our level of thinking and feeling. So we should be on the same page. That means rapport building. Rapport building is connecting people. So making them feel comfortable, gaining confidence, this is all part of connection. So dawah includes any activity, any effort, whether it is direct or indirect. Every activity, every effort which helps a non-Muslim in his journey to Islam. This journey is spiritual journey because connection with Allah, this is how we imagine the spirituality. We need not be very philosophical to understand. So to make it simple, spirituality I understand as connection with the Creator, Spirit. We have soul, and this is connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's orders. We do not know much about soul, so this is the area which is we cannot understand properly. But it is enough to think that spirituality is nothing but connection with the Creator, so that we are having in the realm of unseen realities. So then there are different possible ways to help the person in this journey. And these all possible ways, they are not must, and you can choose according to your capacity, according to your knowledge, according to your competency, talent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given all this competency, talent and skill same to everybody. Some people understand, they are very sharp, they are very active when they want to learn or want to do anything, very smart. Others are not so. So this is Allah's plan. So when we say dawah, we should not think that only those who are knowledgeable or those who are talented or those who have the skill, they only can do. As we will say, you can do. You can do. Don't underestimate yourself. Okay. So yesterday we reached this point. Today I am going to talk you about certain misunderstood notions, thoughts, ideas in our mind concerning dawah. You may not have this, but this is general thing. So when you hear, it doesn't mean that I want to educate you. It means these points are valid points. If you have to convey to others related to dawah, then these are points you can explain with a very good argument. So now the first notion, misunderstood notion among Muslims is that dawah to non-Muslims is difficult. I am experiencing dawah to Muslims. I am able to call Muslims. We have organizations, Tabligh Jamaat, for example. They are doing this job. They are doing dawah among Muslims. They are not doing dawah to non-Muslims. So they should understand, we should understand those who are doing dawah. Dawah to non-Muslims is not the same as dawah to Muslims. They are two different things. This is a very important point. We should not approach a non-Muslim with the same approach as we approach Muslims for reformation. That particular dawah, the better word is islah. They are already Muslim. We want to reform them. Islah is the term which can be understood so far as activity is concerned. But dawah is the activity, what you are doing, that is correct. It is not wrong to say dawah, but dawah is just, we will see later on what is dawah and what is tabligh and so many things. So this particular thing we have to keep in mind. For example, when we do dawah to Muslims, where we start, normally Muslims, they don't pray. So we'll tell them, we motivate them to be punctual in prayers and all those things. 5 pillars of Islam. Normally, these people among Muslims who are not practicing Muslim, for them this dawah is done to Muslims. So we start with 5 pillars of Islam. And unfortunately, my experience is when I started my career to see how dawah to non-Muslims should be done, the sheikh who accompanied me for the first time, I wanted to learn from him. he started with 5 pillars. Then I was surprised. I could not digest this. I thought, why these 5 pillars? He should know what is Islam, but you are talking about practices in Islam. Why he should start with practices? Why not with the concept of Islam? So this was my first spark concerning Dawah, which I wanted to learn. Anyway, Allah opened the door and gradually I learned, which I am sharing with you. So, why it is different? It is different because their mindset is different. Their concept of God is different. A Muslim, even if he is not practicing Muslim, he cannot accept any creature as the creator. This problem we don't have with born Muslims, that he is worshipping any personality, human being, or sun, moon, animal, all these things out from Muslim mind. So we do not have any problem with Muslim mind so far as concerning the concept of God is concerned, which is the starting point for Dawah to non-Muslims. The main thing which is making them non-Muslims is that their concept of God is not Islamic, is not Islam. So this concept has to be instilled in their mind. So this should be the starting point. And if this is done successfully, half of your job is done. Very easy to proceed further. So we should focus on this point for a non-Muslim, not on 5 pillars of Islam. 5 pillars of Islam are obligatory for those who are Muslim. I will give the example from Islamic history. Okay, among 5 pillars of Islam, after Shahada is what? Entry into Islam. Testimony. Okay, testimony. I testify. I bear witness means I testify. I'm sure. Testify means what? I'm sure this is there. When you give a testimony, Shahada in the court, witness, so I say, I swear. So this is Shahada. Anyway, once you enter, what is the most important thing you have to do as a Muslim? What is the most important activity as a Muslim expected? Roti? Salah. It is so important that Salah is the only activity which is never compromised. You have to pray in every condition. As long as you are conscious, sane, adult, then you have to pray. Even if you are sick. If you are sick, alternatives are provided the way you should pray. You cannot stand, doesn't matter. Allah is not interested in the up and down movements. Allah is interested in something more. Allah is interested in software, not hardware. The application program is more important than the laptop hardware. If you don't have the application program, you will not be benefited from the whole thing, what you have in front of you. So such an important thing, which is obligatory in every case, which is not the case with zakah, saum, fasting, or hajj. When somebody doesn't have money, zakah is not there. If somebody is not able to fast, he need not fast. There are some alternatives. He can give something for every non-fast day. If you don't have money to go for hajj, not required, no obligation. But for salah, for sure. Why I am telling all this? To emphasize the importance of salah. And such an important activity was made obligatory when? What time in the history of Dawah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It was not obligatory. Of course, Muslims for praying, but it was not an obligation. When it became obligatory? How many years after the starting of the prophetic mission? When the Prophet was given the mission of spreading the message of Islam, he of course declared La ilaha illallah, and people were invited to this, which people accepted or not accepted. But so far as practice is concerned, this particular important activity was not obligatory. The Prophet was not giving them the list of 5 pillars in the beginning. For how many years? This is my question. Out of 13 years in Mecca, his prophetic mission, performing prophetic mission in Mecca, he was in Mecca for 13 years. When Salah was made obligatory, how many years? Yes, please.
Can you keep it after Salah, the answer?
Sorry?
Can you keep the answer after Salah?
Sorry.
Salah.
Salah? This is what I am asking. When it was made obligatory, when it was made fard.
Sheikh, just I meaning now we'll keep the answer after Salah because it's time for Salah now.
We will wind up.
Sorry. Time for Salah. You should emphasize time. I'm fixed to Salah. Yes, Salah, I'm talking about Salah. Time, you should say time. Then I will see time, not Salah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. It is 6:17 now, and Brother Ahmad says this is the time to break. So inshallah we'll meet after break. Salah. Salah plus Haqqun Nafs, something to eat and drink. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now back to my question. Any input from the audience this side? When Salah was made obligatory, fard, how many years from the beginning of the prophethood? He was for 13 years in Mecca before migrating to Medina. First year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, 10th year, 12th year, for 13th year are in Medina. 10th year? Yes.
10 to 11.
Why this long? Such an important activity? Why it was made obligatory after 10 years? And who was the da'i? The best da'i. He took 10 years to say this is obligatory. And when we start dawah, we start with 5 pillars. Does it make sense? We have to understand that things have to be addressed first which deserve attention. The problem with the people in Mecca was the concept of God. They were mushrikeen, but they were believers in Allah. They knew Allah. And they were the custodians of Kaaba. And Kaaba had 360 idols. And because of that, they occupied an honorable position as a tribe, taking care of Kaaba, taking care of idols. And for that, not only is there importance in the area, people coming, visiting Kaaba, making Hajj in their own way, doing business. All this with La ilaha illallah will disappear. That is the reason they did not want to dissociate with them with the idea of one God, Allah alone. They said, what is this? When he first gave the call to Islam, his own uncles, they rejected this. Only for such a thing, which is a nonsense to us, you are called to say there is no God except Allah? No, this is not acceptable. So this particular concept in their mind about Allah was to be removed. La ilaha illallah. This Shahada started with La. First remove whatever you have concept. La ilaha. Whatever ilah you are taking, remove all that. Among that, the whole plethora of gods, illallah. Only Allah is the real God. This was very difficult for them to understand. So unless this particular true concept of Allah is there, Salah doesn't mean anything. So this is the reason, first, the job of the Prophet was to instill the importance of understanding who is Allah. How is He? What is our interrelationship? That was the time which took long time. So the most important obligatory activity in Islam, most important practice in Islam was delayed for 10 years. At that time, it was the wisdom of God that the Prophet visited, ascended to heavens, and we know the event Isra and Mi'raj. In that, the 5 prayers were obligated. What about the other pillars? When they were made fard, other pillars like Ramadan, Saum, and Zakah, Hajj, all these things. When? After migration, not before migration. So things took place. Seeing what is important, first things first. Basic things first. Prepare the ground. If you want to till, the farmer, what does he do? If you want to sow seeds, grains, for example, what the farmer does? Tills the ground. The ground is made soft so that when he puts the seeds can receive water, gets proper environment, heat and all those things. It allows to grow the plant. If you just throw seeds on a hard rock like granite, yesterday I was talking about, do you think the seeds will produce plant? No. Wind will blow and all gone. So it is important that first the ground is to be made soft. Heart is the ground which receives the faith, and that has to be conditioned, that has to be made soft with reference to receiving the message, with reference to message of the truth, unseen reality, which was very difficult for those non-Muslims. Particularly those mushrikeen of Arabia had this problem. They were so hard-hearted. Their heart was rock, hard rock. No other, for example, Indonesia. Islam came in Indonesia without any prophet. Some traders, they went, people saw the character, behavior, and they were attracted to Islam, accepted China, all these things. these people's heart was soft. The Arabs, Mushrikeen of Arab, they had the toughest heart. That's why the last prophet was sent at this place where he was required. You send expert doctor where the epidemic is very uncontrollable. We need someone expert. Otherwise, some physician with a certificate or diploma is enough, not expert. So, this was the reason why Prophet ﷺ has been sent to Arabs. So, his task was very formidable, challenging, and he accomplished with fantastic results, unbelievable results. He transformed a community which was so backward to become the leaders. So this transformation, human history has never witnessed. That's why Michael Hart, there is one scholar, American scholar, he wrote a book. Have you heard about Michael Hart book? He wrote, what did he write? Which book? The 100. He selected 100 persons from the world, human history, who made deep influence on human civilization. So he wrote the book, The Most Influential Persons in Human History. And he was a Christian, I suppose. He was not Muslim, for sure. He was a Jew. And he was a Jew, I think. Yeah. He put Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam number 1. And he wrote, you may be surprised, but he has justified why he has put there. Why he was qualified in his classification number 1 to 100. So many people he selected. Why he put him as number 1? He did research and he concluded he was the only most successful person who was most successful both in secular field and religious field. If we see religious field, who are the most dominant religion in the world? Christianity. Most people in the world are Christian. Christianity is number 1. Other religions below that. But he put Jesus Christ not number 2. Which number? 3. Not even 2. He justified that also. Because the Christianity he justified, which was preached by Jesus, did not influence the humanity. He was influenced by Saint Paul. He was also responsible for the establishment of Christianity. So he gave all this justification. Of course, after writing this, he had fully justification, his intellect, his aql, concluded he is the top man, most influential man, but still he did not become Muslim. You see, that's what I am telling, that there are 2 things which influence our faith. One is the filter, aql, through which it has to pass and then reach the heart, that means our emotion. Christians, all other religions, they are more inclined towards emotions. Means without filtering much. Things which they believe, they do not make sense, but still they believe. There was one Christian who was telling, even if you prove, give all evidences, quoting from the Bible and logical evidences that Jesus was not God, I still will not believe. Why? Because he said this is a matter of faith. Faith means you have to experience. If you want to know some fruit, orange, sweet or not, how can you know? You have to taste it. Then only say, oh, this is sweet. I have tested the faith and have seen the effect. I found this is what is needed for human beings. So I adhere to Christianity. Don't prove, all these proofs are useless for me. Whether you prove on the basis of Bible or otherwise, logical proofs. No. Still I remain Christian. So this is attitude because his attachment to heart. And this is in the yesterday I was emphasizing this filtering through mind. If this filter is not used, every impurity, for example, water filter we use, why we use? Because water is impure and we need to have pure water, which is impure water is not hygienic, it may create some diseases. So we use a filter, and when the filter is water passes through this filter, it removes bacterial and other dirty, impurity, other things. So this water is safe. So this filter is our intellect. So everything, whatever goes to the heart, whatever goes to the emotions, whatever makes you get attached, emotional attachment, this has to pass through this filter. If it is not done, then every impurity will reach the heart. And you will think that this is the thing. And then you try to justify. Hindus, they justify why they do idol worship. They say, no, we are not worshipping idol. This is just to focus. Some justification. We want basis. On what basis you have idols? They are the creatures with your own hand. They don't have any power, but still you believe. So they believe because they have emotional attachment. The only usage of the heart. So where does Islam stand in these two elements? Role of the mind, intellect, and role of the heart, that is emotions. Islam has a balanced, Islam does not reject one and accept the other. Neither this nor that. These two things are intertwined. First one, the intellect has to be used first to filter, and then you have to accept. Your strength of Iman is very important. If your Iman is there, your intellect says, yeah, it should be there, but you are not emotionally attached. When we read the story of Sahaba, companions, what was the strength of Iman? I give the example of Sayyidina Bilal ibn Rabah, a slave from Africa, but his position in Islam, as recognized by the Prophet, very high. What made him? Strength of Iman. How we read his story, how he resisted tortures, severe tortures, but his heart was satisfied. What he was uttering? Nothing. Ahad, Ahad, one God, one God. Their masters, they are tortured. You know that story, I will not go into all those details. So these things make you feel the force of Iman if it becomes strong. So we have to strengthen our force. So strengthening faith is the job of heart. So heart plays a role, important role in Islam, but not at the expense of mind. Michael Hart, he scored high in the use of mind. He did excellent analysis, but there was no outcome of this. When he is convinced that he is the most successful person, what made him to not accept what he says? So he was not guided. because for him this second element, emotional attachment to Islam, to the truth, was not there. He was remaining attached to his previous beliefs. So that's how this is very important, that we should focus on a person should be convinced first for faith, convinced for the truth of the faith, and then other things start mattering. All practices, all do's and don'ts, all halal haram, all those things come later. But we start from halal haram. This is disaster. If just person has become just Muslim, and people born Muslims, they come and advising him, telling him this is wrong, this is wrong, this is harm, this is harm. This fellow gets confused. This is not the correct approach. Who says not correct approach? This Prophet's example. The Prophet ﷺ sent one of his close companions, Mu'adh bin Jabal, as governor to Yemen. And then he gave certain advice. He said, you are going to the people of the book. So how you will introduce Islam? Then he answered, Ya Rasulullah, I will talk them about God first. La ilaha illallah. Because he agreed. Then what? Then if you believe in Allah, Allah has made you obligatory some activity which is salah. They agree, tell them zakah and so on, all these things. And actually in Islamic history, that's why all these, among the 5 pillars, all those pillars appeared only in Medina. Ramadan fasting was made obligatory in 2 years after Hijrah, about 2 years. And the prohibition of intoxicants, wine, and prohibition of taking interest usury, when they were given? Not in Mecca. At the end of the prophetic mission, before he passed away. Those things are much later. Why? Step by step. As their faith got stronger, this was the time to put thing which is required. Then it becomes stronger, next thing, step by step, step by step. So a new Muslim has to be treated step by step. Even this principle is valid for born Muslims also who are not on the right track. We just pass judgment, this is halal, this is haram, don't do. He is not clear about Iman itself, you are telling this is not correct. This backfires. He keeps hearing, then he gets fed up. He disappears. Even the converts, sincere converts, the moment the person converts, the born Muslims, how they treat. Did I tell the example that I experienced in masjid where I pray? One person was Hindu, he became Muslim, and the Muslims gathered around me when I took charge of explaining, because the Imam gave Shahada, he wanted to speak about Islam, he did not know Urdu or Hindi. I took this responsibility. And the Muslims, they asked, Sir, what will happen about his circumcision? This thing comes very beginning. So important for him. If you are a Muslim, means you have to have this operation. Uska kya hoga? What will happen to the circumcision? This is the attitude, our mental attitude. Why? For him, important case is this adhering to those formalities which occupy much lower level, than the required strength of faith. Quwwatul Iman, this is not there, and all these things, they don't mean anything, they don't matter. Even the question of hijab, you have to put hijab, you don't force. One lady, German lady, who was coming to my class in 90s, she freshly converted, and somebody said, go to Discover Islam and you learn things from this. So she was coming to my class, dressed, not on dress, blouse, no hijab, and it was not fulfilling the requirements for a woman. But I did not object. I allowed her to sit. And then she herself saw around these Filipinas, those were the main converts whom I was talking to. They were all in abaya, and she felt isolated. So she asked, I have read the Quran, I have accepted Islam, but nowhere I found this particular thing. Can you tell me? The Quran doesn't say. So I said, wait. This I will tell after some time. So she coming to my class, and gradually, without telling herself, a point came when she told me, see, I was I was having a picture of Kaaba in my house, in the prayer room, in which the photograph had people going around. That photograph which possesses people around, I cannot keep in the front. So I removed this. So that much she became aware. And all those clothes which she possessed, she told that I have put them in one bag, your time is over. Now get lost. She threw that. And when she started putting hijab, she was just like, in appearance, like a Bahraini. Anybody seeing her would not distinguish. She was an account person, an officer in some company. And about her spouse, they were from Holland. And she was married, and her husband did not become Muslim. So she said, look, I have accepted Islam and you are my husband. If you continue to be my husband, I want you to embrace Islam. Not because I'm forcing you, I love you, but I want you to, by willingly, happily accept Islam because I found the truth. He said, no, it is difficult for me. Then she said, look, then I will not sleep with you. We will have separate. So she was telling me all these stories, her herself. I started sleeping in another room. So this was the attitude which she herself discovered. I did not talk about all those things, this is haram, you should not do. And of course I told, but not directly, not offensive way. I explained the logic or reason and the advantages and why aspect, why we should do. She was very receptive. So all this is to tell you that the role of strength of Iman comes first. This is, if your heart is sick, then all these things, even if you grow a beard, long beard, even if you are praying tahajjud so many times, but if this element is missing, Iman is weak, it is of no use. It is of no use. So this was the prophetic method. make this first importance to strength of Iman. First things first. So this was, he put his efforts for 10 years. So things are to be handled with hikmah, with wisdom, not random way, not being judgmental. It should be, because when we talk about submission to God, we just say theoretically, but what do we mean by submission? This submission is not, you are bound to submit. This submission has to come on your own will and wish. You should be happy to submit. You should be conscious. This submission has to be conscious. Total submission, without any force. If this thing is not present, that means this is only hypocrisy. So, understanding this thing is very important. So, the Prophet's focus was on strengthening this particular part to instill faith. If this is missing, it is like cancer. You are not worried about cancer and the patient is sneezing, you are so much concerned immediately to rush to a hospital in emergency. What is this? The cancer is life and death. Iman is life and death. If you know Iman means, khalas, spiritually you are a dead person. But you are adhering to the lower things, later requirements, halal and haram, do's and don'ts. You should do this, should not do this. Of course, these are important things, but not at this stage. So for new Muslims, I advise, in the beginning, Allah doesn't expect you to do all those things which born Muslims are doing, because psychologically they compare themselves with other Muslims and they feel inferior. Oh, he is doing so much, I am not able to do. And some people have said, I cannot be Muslim because it's very tough. I cannot be like him. Then I said, no, you need not be like him. Allah doesn't expect to be like him. Allah knows your nature. You cannot turn to be a perfect Muslim or very practicing Muslim overnight. There will be time. That's why when new Muslim is there, when he starts praying, he is allowed to pray. He need not memorize Surah Fatiha. He doesn't need to memorize. He has to do the observation of Salah the way he is capable of to do. So in the beginning, even if you say Allahu Akbar, which is easy to say, Subhanallah, easy to say, so such phrases he can use and Salah is acceptable. But it doesn't mean that he can remain there. Just because he has entered into Islam, he is not bound to observe all those things. It's not possible. By being a human being, overnight you can change 100% transformation. It's not possible. So time is given. Over the time, he has to learn. He has to learn in Arabic. Until then, if he can be contented with the English translation, instead of Surah Fatiha, he can have his English translation, but not for longer time. The earliest opportunity he should resort. So what we were doing in Discover Islam previously, we were supplying a chart, Salah chart, in such a fashion that to help new Muslims, this big chart, and then we write what is Arabic to be said in this position. To be said, these positions are also were explained by figures, sketches, and then what is to be told in Arabic, then transliteration, this is pronunciation written in Roman script, same Arabic, and then English. So the new Muslim, whatever stage he is there, he goes from translation onwards, then goes to see the transliteration, and then goes to the Arabic. But this chart was very helpful. People used to put in their prayer room in front of this. Even if something is missing, they will see in front of this. It was put not away for distraction. So this helped. So my advice to all those new Muslims is do your best. Don't give up. Lot of converts, lot of reverts, we say reverts, and particularly in America, we have seen they embrace Islam, but after some time, they disappear. They are no more available. They are lost. People say that at least 50% they go away. They leave Islam. I mean, they are not practicing Islam. Why? Because the Muslim community expects them to behave like a perfect Muslim. And when the person makes Shahada, oh, that point in time, everybody is excited. The Imam says Shahada in presence of the Musallin. Then after Shahada, what happens? Response, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Everybody shout 3 times at least, Allahu Akbar. And then this new Muslim is embraced, kissed. And this process, he gets tired. Until then it goes on. Everybody is happy. That's all. Then afterwards, nobody cares. This is the attitude. This person, new Muslim, is a Mahajir, is a migrant. You know Mahajir? The people of Mecca who migrated to Medina along with the Prophet ﷺ. They are called Mahajirin, the migrants, immigrants, who left everything to move to Medina, safer place. Left everything, family, wealth, whatever possessions they had, just with body. So much of sacrifice. New Muslims are to be seen as Mahajir. That means they have embraced Islam after sacrifices. They have earned displeasure of their close friends, of their family members, and they are adhering to Islam. They are trying their best, but we are not helping them. We are criticizing them. We are judging them. This is not correct. This is not correct. So there is a point to tolerate, and then they feel fed up. And then I've seen these examples also. After Allahu Akbar, somebody feels happy and all these things. They bring some gifts. One of the gifts is thob, this Arabic dress, to make him Muslim looking. And I had one Muslim brother who embraced Islam. I had a discussion with him for long, and then when he became Muslim, he was coming to discover Islam. And one day I found he came in thob and gatra. I said, wow, Islam doesn't want to make you an Arab. This is Arabic dress. Why are you changing your identity as an American? You should not have this dress. This is not a requirement. Then he gave me the reply, very convincing reply, and they said, okay, go ahead. What did he say? I know myself. I am wearing this for solidarity with the women. They put on abaya, and I am wearing dress freely and frankly. And those people, women folk, they are under this dress. So I want to be with them to show solidarity. So instead of abaya black, I'm white thobe, I feel. I say, okay. The second reason he gave, I feel more comfortable than pant and shirt. I have to do so many things. I'm very comfortable. I said, go ahead. Then it's okay, you have understood. But giving this gift with Tob, Gatra Adal and all those things, and he puts on for 1 day, 2 days, and he finds very difficult to handle. You are not used to. Even myself, when I came to Bahrain, I wanted to become very religious and to be like an Arab. So I was coming in Arabic dress. Even to office I went 1 day. Our office is, it's an English speaking environment. And workers all are dressed in English. But I wanted to be like an Arab. Arab means a good Muslim. So with this, religiosity is expressed in my dress. So this was my notion, which is the notion of most Muslims. So, but when Discover Islam started, one of the scholars, we had weekly gatherings calling non-Muslims and new Muslims, and the Sheikh will give some talk, and then I used to help. My job was only as a driver or supplier of food, not giving lectures, not teaching them or doing dawah. So this is the support to dawah. The ustad will give lecture and he will explain. And I had one ustad who was real ustad. He said, Sayyid Ali, if you come in this dress, these non-Muslims, they will see in this dress, they will expect if you become Muslim, you have to dress like this. So this will be a negative thing for their understanding and ease to accept Islam. From that day, I stopped. Whenever, throughout my career in Discover Islam, I never wore thobe. My conclusion was, Islam doesn't change your identity. The change is in direction. Which direction you have to put your life? This direction. You remain American, you remain Chinese, you remain an Eskimo, but still you can be a Muslim. So your dress is part of your culture. That means you are representing this particular culture. If this particular dress is not opposing the requirements, Islamic requirements, go ahead, be like this. This will give the message that Islam for everybody. It is not limited only to Arabs. Don't make him Arab. So, yes, please.
This is wonderful aspect of your talk. May I share a little story?
Yes.
You made me think about this so many years back. When I first came to the mosque, I used to just watch them pray Fajr. There's a new mosque in Boston, sort of down the hill from a very.
And budget?
No, I think the mosque is not. I don't know the ISDCC in Boston. So anyway, the point is, I remember observing at Fajr a few Somali warlords and a couple other guys praying Fajr, taxi drivers and others. And I was like so intrigued because I came during the day and then I wanted to sort of stay and see what's going on at Fajr, 4 or 5 in the morning, right? And even earlier in those days. What I wanted to say is, it was very hot one day, extremely hot, like maybe 100 degrees in Boston.
Yeah. Humid also.
So I wore, not as hot as here, obviously, but like I wore just sort of shorts.
Yes.
And I literally didn't have a shirt on. I came, because it's Fajr, I just sort of came from, woke up and started to walk to, I lived very close to the masjid that summer. And I was ready to pray. I was like going to join the prayers this time, because like the first week or so I didn't join, and I was just sort of what's going on and observing. and none of the guys spoke English. So I'm sitting around, I saw how things work. They sort of sat around reading Quran half an hour before Salah. And then, I saw that the time, because they had a digital clock up there, so I saw the time was passed, and like 15 minutes went past and they still didn't pray. Half an hour went past and they still didn't pray. I was like, what's going on? And eventually, somebody came up to me, because Abdel was like the Share, Somali Share, and he came up to me, somebody came up to me and said, the Share is waiting for you to put on a shirt. They didn't want to pray with somebody in just shorts. And I was so embarrassed, because my culture, they didn't care about that. I mean, literally, whatever framework of mind I was in at the time, but they postponed their Salah for me because they didn't want to offend me. They didn't kick me out, they didn't say, so that was just this amazing experience. And in that line at Fajr in the morning is so important for new converts, because
Right.
you don't just learn the rules as converts, you learn these sort of inward experiences that show the true sort of essence of Islam, because they literally they didn't want to offend me, so they didn't care that they didn't pray yet, until basically they politely came up to me and said, can you put this on? And I'll never forget that.
Yes.
To this day, that janitor is still there that said, can you wear this t-shirt?
Right. Jazakallah khair for sharing this experience and supporting what I'm telling. It's a supporting anecdote. So alhamdulillah. So we'll proceed. So this particular notion that Muslims, as we deal with Muslims, the same thing is applicable to non-Muslims. The way I approach Muslims for making them good Muslims is not the way I should approach non-Muslims. Non-Muslims is to be treated differently. Why? The reason is their mindset is different. Their beliefs, religious beliefs is different. They don't have proper concept of God. So first focus should be the concept of true God. And born Muslims is stuck in terminology, Tawheed. What is Tawheed? What he will know from Tawheed? Tawheed, the concept of Tawheed is important. Tawheed word doesn't occur in Quran as a term. Ahad, yes, Qul huwallahu ahad. From this, the scholars have derived the concept of Tawheed. Word, as it is, as a term, does not appear. Shirk, for example, this Arabic word shirk, it appears in the Quran. Kufr appears in the Quran. Its opposite, Tawheed, it doesn't appear in the Quran. So I mean to say, the concept is more important than the terminology or theory part of this. The inside, what is the concept of Tawheed? So I described Tawheed, I've got a big lesson on Tawheed, which means you have to give the true concept of God. This is Tawheed. You can use the word terminology when you explain the concept. After explaining the concept, you should say, this is called Tawheed. Oh, then they will be able to grasp. Otherwise, it becomes theory, and you say Tawheed. There are three parts of Tawheed. Tawheed Uluhiyya, Rububiyya, and Asma wa Sifat. So this all becomes theory. No, nothing goes inside mind and inside heart. But if you write exam, you will 100% you get passing marks, and you are happy that I done this. I attended this course and I got A plus. Why? Mug up. And then reproduced without understanding this. So this is not the way. We have to see the concept behind. Anyway, so this is first thing, the concept of true God, of one God. Why we say true, we discussed, we will not repeat. So what does it mean? Therefore, our strategy to handle a non-Muslim has to keep this in mind. Our focus should be to address those issues which have put him off from the true concept. This is what exactly the Prophet ﷺ did for so many years in Mecca. So this is one misunderstanding Muslims have, because of which they introduce Islam to non-Muslims also, like they introduce when they approach Muslims. They start with 5 pillars. Yeah, it is applicable to Muslims, but not Muslims. I have reasons for that. Okay. Now the second thing. We should understand that dawah doesn't mean to convert. This is a very big misunderstanding. We want that dawah is to convert a person. Person may be converted, but he may not be getting the concept, and his conversion remains superficial. If the environment is not available, suitable, he will leave. He is not grounded, well grounded. Well grounding, firming up comes only when the concept is clear. So, dawah doesn't mean to convert a person, although conversion is what we expect. My aim is, if I convey something as a truth, if I convey rightfully, properly, this person should accept this. If he accepts, then I feel happy that my effort has produced result. So, but my job is not to convert, but what is my job? To convey, not convert. Kan is there, not way. I mean, not word, but way. I want to convey, but convey with the conditions which Quran or Allah has guided us. You making use of these conditions, I conveyed, but now it is left for the person to decide whether he wants to accept this and take action, or he remains, or he needs more time to go through. This you have to leave to the person. We cannot force. The Quran is very clear on this. Quran says, this is with reference to the Prophet's own uncle, who was caretaker of the Prophet when he was orphan and he needed some support. The Prophet was supported by his uncle Abu Talib. Abu Talib, he loved the Prophet like his own child. He brought up in his house until he passed away. This was the love. And the Prophets reciprocated this with the same love. The love existed from Abu Talib to Prophet ﷺ, and from Prophet ﷺ to Abu Talib. Both loved each other. And Prophet ﷺ, he has done his best, still he did not become Muslim. So then this is with reference to that particular thing. Allah said, you cannot guide It is only Allah who guides. It is only guidance comes from Allah. Allah knows who deserves guidance, whose heart is ready for the guidance. So Allah takes the decision, and Allah has the wisdom. Allah has the knowledge which we do not have. So you don't bother about this, don't feel bad about this, leave it to Allah. There are so many ayat, I picked only 2 references. La ikraha fi din is a famous thing. There is no compulsion in matters of faith. You have to live. That's why in the mosque tour, when I deal with non-Muslims, I explain my concepts and then I ask them, does it make sense? They say yes. And then I also further explain, now to accept it or reject it is your choice. Why? Because Allah has given you mind to think and heart to believe. I am not responsible. My responsibility was until I convey this message of truth, which I feel good for myself, I have shared with my fellow human being. So with this objective, I am talking to you. If you like, you accept it. If you don't like, think about it. Maybe it will take time, doesn't matter. Reject it, doesn't matter. I did my job. Once you do the job properly, then what you expect, why you are doing job? For the pleasure of Allah, reward from Allah. This reward is there, whether this fellow gets converted or not. Nuh alayhi salam preached so many years, but statistically he could not convert not even 1 person in 10 years. Not even 1 person in 10 years. Was he unsuccessful in dawah? No. This is not the yardstick to measure. Conversion is not the number, statistics is not, doesn't show your success ratio. If there are more converts, you are more successful than less converts. Of course, there is some truth in this. If you do not do the job properly, naturally converts will not be there. But you have to do the job properly. Still, if there is no conversion, then this is Allah's decision. They don't deserve to be converted. So conversion and conveying, we have to understand this. Our job is to convey properly, not to convert, but we aim to see that they accept the message, and the acceptance means conversion. That they have accepted the message means they have converted. If they have not accepted means they rejected. It is their choice. I will not be accountable for their choice. So this is one misunderstanding. The third one, dawah doesn't necessarily mean lecturing. This is generally common notion that if I have to do dawah, I have to do lecturing. At the time of Ahmad Didat, when my dawah career was in the beginning, the person known to the world was Sheikh Ahmad Didat. Nowadays, Dr. Zakir Naik is now more popular. People don't know, many people don't know about Sheikh Ahmad Didat. He was his teacher. Not only he was his teacher, worldwide he raised the confidence of Muslims to talk to Christians. He brought the confidence. His contribution to dawah was great. His approach was so great, so attractive. So anyway, he was debating and Muslims were enjoying the debates. The way he cornered the Christian debater, people were happy, and this is saying. So they were enjoying the activity of Sheikh Ahmad Didat. But that was debate. And in my approach, It is not debating. It is sorry.
Conveying.
It is conveying. Conveying what? We are not different. We are together. We are together. Don't think we are opposing you. Don't think we are competing with you. Don't think that we want to fight with you. Don't think that we are rejecting you. Because Islamic concept is all human beings have been honored by our Creator. He has given honor and dignity. Who are we to take this? So we have to keep this honor and dignity. Allah has also given choice whether they want to accept or not. We have to respect this choice. So then comes the question, how we are together. So yesterday I touched upon this point. Every religion which is considered as a parallel to Islam, and we choose Islam because among all these religions, Islam looks better. This is not the right approach I use. I say that there is no concept of religion other than Islam. If you want to seek a religion, this is the religion. And this religion has to be understood not as a label, but as an attitude towards God. So I brought so many definitions of Islam. So this should be our mindset, Muslims' guys' mindset, how to connect to the person who is not from our community and he thinks that I am the other side. And what I am trying to tell is you are not on the other side. We are all human beings. Allah recognizes all humanity as one brotherhood. Allah says in the Quran, the whole humanity was one brotherhood. Later on, this division started. This is human history. There is no religions, and the religion is attitude towards Allah, that of submission. This is Islam. So in all those religions, which are considered as parallel religions, they are not religions. They are the remnants of original Islam. Whatever is left from the original Islam, which was originally presented in the particular part of the world, like in India, Rama, Krishna, Buddha, they were the persons. Most probably, they were Muslims. And what they were preaching was Islam. But the problem is that, did I talk about Chinese whisper yesterday? No. Yesterday I talked about Chinese whisper. No? You have heard about Chinese whisper?
Yeah.
What is this Chinese whisper? Whisper. Chinese whisper.
It's
You know? What is it?
Whisper. It's like you arrange like people and someone's.
Yeah. There are, imagine a line, people are standing in a row, standing, and from left to right or right to left, first person, he tells something in the ear which cannot be heard by other persons. And he is supposed to convey the same thing which he heard to the next person. And the same thing to the next person and 10th person, the last one. And then you ask, what did you hear? It is different. Within this time, in the same place, same time, this thing changed. Now it is worth thinking how if something is recorded after 500 years, it can be original teaching. All those teachings of Buddha, Rama, Krishna, Confucius, Tao, and in China, India, all their scriptures were recorded after generations. Their teaching was originally verbal. And then next generation, what they heard from above generation, they will pass on. And then they will pass on. and this Chinese whisper was active at generation level. Here individual level it is missing things. What about generation level? And in this area also there are two things. One thing is matters which are speculative, which are to be imagined, like unseen realities, alamul ghaib, like reality of God, existence of God, reality of life after death. This is one area. The other area is our dealings with other humans, treating parents, treating children, treating community. This is a strong area. The likely changes take place where, which area? Which area out of the two? Dealing with unseen realities or dealing with human relationships? Unseen realities. Because there is speculation. The person, one generation has understood the true concept and wants to convey. If the person is not properly able to convey, he makes examples, he puts in his own way. And then the next generation puts in their own way. In the process, whole thing which was speculative about the concept of God, about the life after death, everything changed. But per se, the oldest religion which they claim, Hinduism, 5,000 years old, they have the concept of God, one true God, they have the life after death, but these concepts are adulterated with human ideas, not pure. Because in the process of communication, they have added many things, so they got deviated. But enough is to say that original teaching has been preserved to certain extent. Yesterday I was talking about my encounter with a Buddhist in Japan who became Muslim, and he prayed as a Buddhist. The way he prayed was nothing but our salah, which contained qiyam, ruku, sujood, dua, all those things, little different than what we do. But what I was studying as remnant or leftover or remaining part of the original Islam is that there is something when we pray, there has to be standing position, there has to be some bowing position, there has to be some prostrating position. And my further interest, he took me to his temple. Before entering temple, we had to make wudu, wash ourselves. The concept is there. Of course, they are doing in a different way, but the concept is there. So if you look to such things, you will find all these religions, they acquired the religious names which have no sanctity. The so-called founder has not told that I am preaching this religion. Jesus did not say I am preaching Christianity. Moses did not say I am preaching Judaism. Rama did not say I am preaching Hinduism. Buddha did not say I am preaching Buddhism. These are the names allotted by outsiders after some time, after a long time, not by the followers but the outsiders. So there is no sanctity to identify these things as religions. Religion is only one. And this has been every time revived. When people get deviated, there is a need to bring back. So I say, I express this idea, giving this example. Human beings, all human beings, originally we started traveling. Our journey was on a highway. We were all together, traveling together on a highway. Now what happened? After some distance of travel, we got deviation. Some people, they went this side. Some people, they went to bylanes and other things. And they kept going. My job is to remind them, look, this is the highway, come back to the track. So Dawah is nothing, inviting them back to the track. Tell them this is the original religion. And the concept of original religion is there in Hinduism. They call it Sanatana Dharma in Sanskrit, which means ancient religion, original religion. But what is that original religion? They don't have definition. And we have definition. And that is attitude towards God, attitude of accepting God and following whatever He commands. And all this, Rama, Buddha, Krishna, they were teaching same thing, essentially. So there is no religions, plural, there is single religion. And yesterday I was talking between 2 points, one straight line between human being and God, one straight line. We Muslims say Sirat al-Mustaqim. This is the Sirat al-Mustaqim. We cannot have many straight lines. We cannot have many religions. If you are seeking a religion, this is the religion. So this is the approach, which is called inclusive approach. That means we identify first on the basis of humanity. Humanity, we have one brotherhood. So when we conduct the mosque tour, when we bring inside the mosque, originally when people were giving tour of the mosque, or even now we have open house, but the way we started is different. Our style is different.
For a tour, ya Sheikh, which approach do you prefer to start? Like in AT&T tour here, which approach do you prefer to start a tour?
Which approach do you prefer to start for a tour?
Tour.
Yeah, for a tour, which approach do you prefer?
Inclusive. All this introduction is to impress upon you inclusive approach. What is inclusive approach? Connection with humanity. What is that connection with humanity? Brotherhood, equality. The concept of equality and brotherhood, this is the religion which is preaching. And that is why I started giving a demonstration of Salah. Previously it was not there. I started, and from the audience, I have to do some drama to get their attention. I pull them, please join me, I will demonstrate how we perform Salah. So instead of going directly to those requirements like from a Muslim, I say there are certain rules. When we pray in a congregation, we have to follow certain rules. The first rule is we have to stand shoulder to shoulder. Why I am mentioning all this, which is not so important? I am mentioning because it prepares me the ground to say humanity is one brotherhood. We are not different. And then I ask them to be interactive. I ask them why we are supposed to stand shoulder to shoulder. So I hear the response. Somebody says space, somebody says something, somebody says I do not outrightly reject, but I say not really and something like that. Then I talk about this. I say this is to demonstrate the concept which Islam gives, equality and brotherhood of humankind. When somebody stands next to me, I don't want to stand. Why? Because I feel better than him. I stand away from him. I create distance. We don't want this concept to set in. So the Prophet ﷺ said, if you make distance, shaitan will come. What does it mean? Discordance. Shaitan's activities, discording, creating distances, divisions in humanity, even between husband and wife. So close people, but shaitan will enter and try to see they don't remain together. So togetherness is disturbed because you feel like shaitan, I am better than him. He is very ordinary laborer. He is not very well dressed. He does not appear to be very educated person. He is a poor laborer. How I am the chief executive of a big company and I stand before him, I am a millionaire. Why? I said, no. The rule is when you start from the congregation from the center, and whoever comes next has to join, irrespective of who is next to me. Even if the king comes late, he has to take the point where the line ends. Of course, in practical things do not happen, that is a different matter. But to make a point, I say this. The king also, of course, we have examples in our aslaf, in our predecessors. They were not arrogant like today's rulers. Of course, their attitude also is justified because of the safety, security. In my own experience, the ruler of Bahrain, Sheikh Isa, the present king's father, he was acceptable to me. I was working in Awali. I used to go for Jummah Salah in Rafah. Awali, there was no mosque offering Jummah. So nearest mosque was in Rafah. And Rafah, I go to the mosque where Sheikh Isa is praying. Of course, he will be put in the first row, but he is accessible to him. When my son came to visit me, we shook hands. I told him, this is our Amir. He was accessible. People were shaking hands. He was so much. Nowadays it's difficult. Why? Security reasons. Why security reasons? Our social environment has been terribly damaged. People have been made to feel insecure so that these powers, the mafia, can have their influence. They can make money. They can make money. I think it's too much to say. I'm talking about politics, but Trump understands this aspect. He is going against mafia, against this power of establishment which is making people to disintegrate for the benefit of those who are in arming, making money, doing business and getting richer at the cost of own public. So Trump says, why we go and fight? Let them do whatever it is. Focus on my own people. And this thing establishment did not like. So they made problems for him. But hats off to him. Of course, his attitude towards Muslim in general, I don't like. But there is a reason. No Muslim has reached him to explain what exactly is Islam, how peaceful it is. So whose mistake? It is your mistake. Why you are blaming him? And I have seen one example in America. There was a church which put a notice outside the church, Muslims are terrorists. We have to see them get out from America. And many Muslims who pass by, they get irritated. They get, what is this? They are anti-Muslim. They pass judgment. Americans are very bad people. Then one Muslim who was real da'i, he understood this point. He phoned the chief there that, please, I want an appointment to sit with you to talk something on this. He agreed. He took the appointment. He went there. He explained, the one who put this notice about Muslims, they are terrorists. And he explained in such a fashion, it was very effective. He said, really? Is it so? That I'm so sorry. He removed this board. He removed. So the fault lies with us. We have not been able to engage them properly and we become reactive. We have to be proactive, not reactive. Don't react on something which is not happening according to your wish. We become emotional and we react. When we brand, he is anti-Muslim, he is anti. No, they are innocent people. And we have to start benefit of doubt. treat everybody as innocent unless proved guilty. This is the approach. So unless you do the job of explaining them, Islam, what is kufr? Kufr is not unbelieving, not non-believing, it is disbelieving. That means denial of the truth or hiding the truth. When the truth is presented before you, you did not accept, you denied, then it becomes kufr. So kafirin are not to be translated as non-believers. All non-Muslims are not kafirs. Those who have been explained about the truth and after knowing they have been adamant, stubborn, they are the deniers of the truth, they come under the category of kafir. And that also I have got a lesson. Who are kuffar? What is the Islamic concept of kuffar? I have dealt in detail, explaining the Muslim mind, negativity among non-believers, non-Muslims. It is not correct Islamically. What about Sayyidina Umar? Sayyidina Umar, he was enemy of Islam. He was a kafir. No, he was not kafir. He was non-Muslim. He was a mushrik. And he heard about the Prophet ﷺ. He was so much upset. What he decided? Decided to kill him. He came out from his house with the intention of killing him with the sword. He went to Prophet ﷺ's side. Then somebody on the road, on the way, told him, why are you going there? Your own sister has become Muslim. I said, really? I will take her to task. Then he went to his sister. And then he told, I heard that you are accepted Islam. Yeah, she and her husband had accepted Islam. Then he was upset. He mishandled and he started beating. Then she said, don't do this. First you listen to me. Then she recited the Quran and other things explained. And then Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he attentively heard, and then his heart changed. Is it like this? Yeah. Then he continued to go to the Prophet ﷺ, and his companions, they were afraid, Umar is coming. So be careful. The Prophet ﷺ was peaceful. He said, don't worry. Umar went there and accepted Islam on his faith. Umar was the one right hand of the Prophet ﷺ, next only to Abu Bakr Siddiq. About Umar, the Prophet ﷺ said, if anybody would have been a prophet after me, of course this is only theoretical, hypothetical, no prophet is going to come after him, he is the last prophet, final prophet, but if there is a possibility to be someone, a prophet after me, it would have been Umar. This is the status. Who was Umar? Kafir. In the eyes of Muslim, kafir. He was a mushrik. Not every kafir is real kafir. What is the concept of a da'i about kafir? How we should think about kafir? Non-Muslim, rather, not kafir is not the right word. What should be the concept in the minds of Muslim about non-Muslims?
Possible Muslim.
Sorry?
Possible Muslim.
Not yet Muslim.
Coming soon.
Like Barak Hassan,
Not yet
if you
Muslim.
reach them.
Yes. We have to treat them as not yet Muslim or potential Muslims. This is the Da'i's approach. Mufti's approach, he is kafir. Punish him. This is academic approach. Passing judgment and acting accordingly. And Da'i's approach, compassion towards fellow human being to save from hellfire. That means fellow Muslim, fellow human, not yet Muslim. There are many Muslims. That's why I say America is a fertile place of Islam. But since Americans have not been approached properly, they are behaving the way they behave, not out of animosity, but out of ignorance. They do not know the reality. Same thing I observed in Japan. The Japanese people, they have Islamic life. There are so many things which match what Islam teaches, but they are not Muslims. Then I found the problem is Muslims, that they have failed to understand that culture, they have failed to cash upon the Islamic values, what they possess, and the result is they remain there, where as non-Muslims. So wherever non-Muslims are troubled, I try to first see whether there is a mistake lying with Muslims or really they are enemies. Of course, not all non-Muslims have a naive approach, innocent approach out of ignorance, but there are many Muslims or there are non-Muslims who know very well about Islam, but still they have animosity, though they are different category, but majority of them don't belong to this category. And this has a history, long history, why such things, such emotions have developed in the minds of non-Muslim, particularly Christians. So this is a big background. We will not discuss all those things anyway. So I wanted to convey this point. Lecturing, we think that we have to lecture, rather debate. So when I was giving the example, when I started my career, everybody who wants to do dawah, he will be debating. He will quote left and right, chapter number this, verse number this, chapter number this, Bible number this, these things. This is ordinary Christian who has never read Bible. You are debating with him. You want to kill a fly using gun. One plastic platter is enough. When you find it, hit it, but you are using gun. Why? And then what will be the impression of that person with whom you debate? He is prepared to put me down. He has come prepared. I am not that. This is told by one Christian with whom I was talking, one lady. She says, you are quoting, I have never read Bible. We don't read Bible. We Christians, we never read Bible. Our one convert from Ireland, Irish brother, he was telling, my grandmother did not allow me to touch the Bible. The grandmother, because this is the property of the priests, learned people, only they can read. They only are having this knowledge, what Bible says. You are nobody. So this was their upbringing. So this was also a factor responsible for keeping them away, keeping them ignorant of Islamic truths. So there are so many things we have to know when we do dawah. So lecturing, what is lecturing? Lecturing is downloading information. Information is going but is not making effect. What is this? What is the use? I had a visitor in Al-Fateh. He was from Germany. He was wearing thobe also to present himself friendly with Arabic culture. He was Christian, but he had some information about Islam. So another tour guide who was taking the tour, I heard him telling about this is Islam, this is Islam. This person, the German, he got fed up. He said, brother, I have all this information. Please don't tell me all this. Don't tell me. He stopped. He put his mouth shut. Why? He's coming on, he's downloading, bombarding with information. It's not effective. Until he got bored, he had to express, stop it to that extent. So we are enthusiastic, we are emotional, we want to do dawah. Of course, your intention is not doubted, but the way you do is not correct. This is not the right thing. Only lecturing will not help. Lecturing is downloading. Debate may be needed, but not with everybody. Debate usually generates heat. We don't need heat. Heat is friction. The debaters have friction. What we need light. Light. They are in darkness, we need torch to show what is truth. If they are in dark, they don't know which is the way out. When you have torch, you are able to guide. So we need to help by light, not by heat. So debate is heat, and tactfully conveying is light. Helping in the journey is light. Debate you may win based on your arguments, but the net result is you will lose the person. This is the drawback. People don't understand. My interest is man, personal touch, human touch. This is most basic. This person sees one visitor to the mosque there two people commented like this. One was from Philippines. Another time there was some Westerner from Canada probably. They say, oh, Muslims have a sense of humor. He was thinking that Muslims who are religious Muslims, they are very stubborn, very serious and harsh people. They want to kill. And then when we, in our ATMT, we have the element of humor to lazim. When you talk to him, have a sense of humor. I give the example of humor as salt, roll of salt in your food. If you are eating biryani, there is no salt in it, then biryani looks tasteless. But salt makes it very tasty. But the other side, if you put too much salt, oh, this is rejected. So don't cross the level of humor and you keep on making humor, the whole thing, whole discussion is evaporated. It is not taken seriously. Only humor, only joke, tamaskhur. No, it is not correct. So have little bit of salt, the desired level of humor. So how to put this humor, I tried, and the tour guides are following that, alhamdulillah. So instead of lecturing, of course lecturing is a valid way. We have to talk about this, we have to sit, speak, give a talk, give a lecture, answer questions. This is valid way of faith. It is not to deny, this is not correct. It is very valid. But dawah is not confined to only this, lecturing or debating. There are many ways. Even without opening your mouth, you can do dawah. Silent dawah, by your behavior. This is also dawah. People have accepted Islam by behavior. In Korea, Islam came recently, after Second World War, through Turkish army. And this chaplain, army chaplain, Muslim, he was interacting with locals. And locals got attracted and they knew about. And their culture was very similar to Muslim culture, so they feel very comfortable and they started accepting Islam. This is how Islam spread in Korea. This is what I heard. I mean, how much details are there, I don't know, but this is overall, I can say that wherever in the East, Islam has reached, it is reached through behavior, through traders, their honesty, their akhlaq, their character. There were no wars. In the West, they say Islam spread through sword. Islam spread through sword means Muslims were forcing people on force, showing sword. If you accept Islam, you are safe, otherwise we will kill you. That is the impression. The West considers that Muslims are very oppressive to women. Muslims are very oppressive to women. But the fact is, 75% of the converts are women. Instead of this impression in the West itself, 75% of women. Tony Blair's ex-Prime Minister of UK, his sister has become Muslim. What's his name? Sister-in-law. Yeah, Laura. Yeah. And very strict Muslim. When she became Muslim, her daughter said, "Mom, you will love us even after becoming," they were small kids. "You have become Muslim, even then you will love us?" Then she said, "I will love more." Islam teaches love. So, lady, you must have heard one lady journalist, UK, she was caught by Taliban and she thought that now this is the end. Taliban means horrible people. They are anti-non-Muslims. My death is sure. So she thought to herself, now I'm going to die. I'm caught. So I should be bold. So when somebody came to talk to, she spat. Very offensive. She thought they will kill her. But this Taliban, and she remained, this is a long story, to cut it short, she remained in the custody of Taliban until America started bombarding. And then the Taliban approached her, "Okay, we don't want to keep you. We will release you on one condition." What is that condition? She was surprised. They want to release me? So what is that condition? "This is a copy of Quran. I want you to read." And she promised, yes, she will read, and did. And then she discovered, this is the truth. And she came to Bahrain. I gave her tour. Iman Ridley. And she gave lectures, challenging. Maybe some spies are there. CIA people will be there. I am challenging them. She openly challenged. When she exposed the hypocrisy of these people. So she became Muslim. Lady, educated lady. So I am giving some examples, but statistically, I have found 75%, at least, generally, overall, 3/4 of the population which accept Islam are female, who are given the impression Islam is very oppressive. Not only in the West I am referring because this is the dominant notion against women. Even elsewhere, Filipinos, most Filipinas, the ladies, they are In fact, Discovery Islam was flooded with conversions from Filipino ladies. We started, yes.
Why do you think that is?
Sorry?
Why do you think that's the case?
Why do you think that is the case?
There is?
Why do you think that is the case?
That is
With
it.
lots of Filipino ladies accepting Islam.
why?
Yeah, these are women folk. The one thing I found that the Filipino Christians, they don't have so much of emotional attachment like other communities. They are relatively very open-minded. How they, for example, husband and wife, one may be Catholic, the other may be Protestant, hardcore. One may be following one thing, another will be following one thing. This is tolerable. They tolerate all these things. They are open-minded. They are objective. So when I sit with them and when they hear about this, they get tears. Really? It's a shame on us. We were worshipping Jesus, human being. He's not God. Yes, it makes sense. These housemates, at one house, there were 4 brothers. They had housemates. They invited me instead of sending housemates to discover Islam. They invited me. Can you please come and talk to them? So in the morning, the sister comes, one Filipino sister, Sara Empleo. I took her because she is lady and they are housemates. So then I explained them Islam. It was 7 or 8 sittings. Then three of them said Shahada. And at the time of Shahada, the Arbab, the owner, the father of all these houses, he was present and he witnessed. They cried. And he offered them tissues. Sorry. So they are very open-minded. They are very open-minded. Unlike Indians, there was one Indian housemate who was also convinced about truth of Islam. Then at the time of Shahada, he said, I cannot. My mother said, if you study Islam, not only accept Islam, study Islam, I will not allow you to enter my house. So she was rejected. She was certain. And one Hindu, he was convinced, he was educated, he was computer analyst or something. He said, if my mother, if she hears that I am taking interest in Islam, she will commit suicide. My mother is so near that I cannot see my mother committing suicide. So they have emotional attachment. So the message is, as a Da'i, the Dawa procedure should be to address how best I can remove the person from this emotional attachment to the traditions, and attachment to the, parents and society is actually emotions. So this I have to focus on how best I can try to detach it. Even if they are convinced, they have from logic they use intellect and they are convinced, but this attachment is responsible to hold them in their faith. Nanu vajadna abhauna. We have found our forefathers doing this, so we, out of respect for them, we also do. So Allah says, what about if they are not on the true path? So you will be, if they have done mistakes, you will repeat the same mistake. Use your brain, use your mind. So these things are the finer things in Dawah. So It's going to be end of this. What happened? Stuck? Okay. It's taking time. I think sleeping. Like you, who are tired. So the computer also taking time to wake up. Okay. Number 4. Dawah doesn't necessarily require you to be a knowledgeable person, very knowledgeable person. Knowledgeable person or a scholar, we say Arabic scholar, alim. Alim is what? Alim is storehouse of information. Specializes in certain fields of knowledge. Quran, tafsir, tajweed, fiqh. I'll give you my experience. When we started open house in Al-Fateh, in the beginning, originally, the management said, there should be some scholar. These fellows who are tour guides, we are not satisfied. There should be some scholar to talk to them or to answer the questions. So I was not convinced, but this management, I cannot say no. They say, okay. So they put 2 scholars. The open house was for 2 days or 3 days, I don't remember, 2 days I think. After Eid, the following day and the following day. These days are holidays, so those holidays they sat. And the visitors number was about 1,000 those days. Not a single person visited any scholar. They were sitting, bored, and they themselves said, we are not required. I said, yes, you are not required, because the non-Muslim will not ask tafsir of Surah Fatiha. He wants to know who is Allah, and you know who is Allah, so you can explain. This is Alif, Ba, Ta, A, B, C. This is what required for a beginner. You don't require alim. But it doesn't mean I am demeaning alim. The alim has a power, knowledge. If you are knowledgeable also, it adds to it. It's always powerful. A person who is a da'i with knowledge, sound knowledge, is added advantage. This is added advantage, not the basic requirement. So you need not be an alim. Yes. So this is the last slide. There is one more slide I think left. And then da'i is like a salesperson. Just to compare how alim versus non-alim. Non-alim is like a salesperson. What is the job of a salesperson? Example. I want to sell computers. I want to sell what? Computers. Do I recruit PhD in computer sciences for selling the computers? No. I don't need experts in the computer science. What do I need? Someone who can talk to customers, convince, talk about the product, convince and make the customer accept this. So in order to do that, he should have sufficient knowledge to deal with the customer. That is enough. That is the basic requirement. You need not be PhD. You need not be an alim. You have to be salesperson. You should have skills. How to communicate, how to engage. These are the skills, like a salesperson. So this point is explained in this way. There is one more point. Inshallah, tomorrow I will address. I hope whatever I talked, it made sense, and they are valid things, and we should keep these things in mind. This dawah is not such a heavy thing that it is out of our reach, which is within this reach. Every Muslim can be a da'i according to his own capacity, according to his level of knowledge. He can express the conveying of the message through behavior. You need not be an alim.
You can compare it and
So,
explain to them also
sorry?
how you can tell them also how you become a Muslim, how you come to become an Islam.
You can
So
also
make
you can
a
share your
sample
own
yourself.
You as
For
a
them,
as
how
a new
you
Muslim, you can share your own story to.
Yeah, that's true.
Story.
That's true, sister, yes. Because these are the examples how the new Muslim has passed through that experience that will help. So my presentations are based on all these experiences. I am sharing my experiences. These are not available in textbooks. This is not copy paste. This is original work. This work of a thinking mind with open-minded, unbiased, and trying to reach the reality, seeing the big picture concept first, bringing most important things first things first. This approach has opened the door to understand what I need to share on the understanding of Dawah. So as I understood, I am conveying you this I understood. If you also understand this, you agree, it's very fine, I am with you. If you don't agree, it's fine, still. I am not a scholar that you have to accept. I am not a mufti. I am not a judge that what you do is right or wrong. No, I am just sharing my thoughts, my beliefs, acceptable to you. I am glad. If not acceptable, still I am glad that at least you have heard my arguments. So, inshallah, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.